Hello, yes, if you want to watch the video, the timestamp is on the screen right now. If you want to skip this bit, that's fine. First, I just want to say that we've now got a members tab for the channel. So essentially, you can get exclusive perks from joining the members part of the channel. All you need to do is click the join button on the channel page or use the link down below in the description. You can get everything from influencing upcoming videos, exclusive polls, name credited at the end of every video, and also early access to future videos. So if you're interested in all of that from as cheap as 99 pence a month, then make sure to click the link below or the join button on the channel page. Anyway, enjoy the video. Okay, so this is a topic that has been running quite rampant over the last week or so, especially on the channel. My last video reached over 100,000 views, which is mental, so thank you for that if you're one of those people who watched and enjoyed that video. In that video, I discussed why Spider-Man doesn't work in high school anymore. And in a nutshell, I explained that his origin story has been drained to the point like trying to wring water out of a dry towel. If you want me to go more in depth with my points, just go and watch that video. But then when reading the comments and you guys discussing the topic, I had a thought. Which is better? Spider-Man in high school or Spider-Man in college? Or I guess just later life in general. A bunch of you guys were telling me about how Spider-Man has been in college for most of the comics, and a lot of adaptations of the character choose this route also, which got me thinking. Which Spider-Man setting generates the better stories? So in today's video, I'm going to be dissecting which is better. Stories about Spider-Man in high school or stories of him in college. Now, I'm going to admit, this is my third attempt at writing this video. I cannot get it right, because both times I've tried to come at it from an objective angle. However, there is no way to come at this objectively, because at the end of the day, you always end up having to pick one or the other. I tried to break both eras down and define which has the better traits, characters, and stories. But the issue is, when I was doing this, is that there really wasn't much difference. They really are as good as each other. So this is purely subjective. So I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion, which one I think is better, and why. And I'll give you my reasons too. This might surprise you, and like I said, there is no right answer to this, and this might more or less be an opinion more than an objective evidence or a universal truth. But I believe that Spider-Man is better off in high school. Yeah, I said it. I know I just made a video about how he shouldn't be in high school anymore, but don't worry, I have reasons. I have a question for you. Why do so many writers gravitate towards making Spider-Man a high schooler? Why is it that when there is a brand new adaptation of the character, he starts in high school almost most of the time? Yeah, we have Peter B, Marvel's Spider-Man, the 90s show, but there are only a few adaptations in comparison to the dozen that we have gotten with Peter Parker in high school, or at least starting off in high school like the TASM movies or the Raimi movies, or being in high school throughout 3 movies, an entire trilogy like Tom Holland's Spider-Man from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, even though I'm firmly in the camp of evolving the character and telling new and interesting stories about a future Peter Parker, I do believe that the best stories from Spider-Man that have ever and will ever be told is of him in high school. His story of responsibility is too great and is an all-time fictional classic. The line, "with great power comes great responsibility," is so well known across the world. It's becoming a saying that transcends the character, that really is a staple of how influential Spider-Man has been and still is. And that all comes from the stories told of him in high school. All the classic traits, from the Peter Parker money problem to Peter neglecting his social life for Spider-Man, the balance between Peter's ego and lust for money, revenge, but knowing that's not what his Uncle Ben would do, is so raw, unfiltered, relatable, and brilliant. And these are all traits that came from him being a high schooler, came from that responsibility story. But don't get me wrong, like I said, I am still in the camp of Peter evolving, Peter becoming an older character, someone that we can explore new stories with, because there are still many stories that can take place further in the future to be told about Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I mean, just look at how successful Peter B. Parker was from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think there is a whole realm of Peter to be explored that has barely been even touched upon, and I still agree that we should see that. We should get to experience that at some point down the line, either as a comic or a show or a movie. Give us Mayday Parker, give us MJ and Peter being married, give us Peter being a scientist, being a teacher, give us Peter being a mentor to his daughter. Also, I want to point out that Spider-Man in college does come with its benefits too. I do personally believe that there are many storytelling mechanisms that are great that come with Peter being in college. Like, for example, the character isn't tied to high school and therefore has more freedom. There is more freedom to explore stories from out of high school. When Peter is in high school, he has to attend several classes a day 5 times a week, which can really hurt the character when you're trying to tell a specific story. But in college, it's a little bit more lenient, where he doesn't really have to go to class as much. You can still do the whole thing with his grades declining and him neglecting his classes and his social life, but you can also tell different stories where he doesn't specifically have to go to college all the time, which is something that the 90s show actually played around with really well, and it actually worked quite well for that show and those stories. Another great storytelling mechanism is the Parker money problem. At first, it was generally just Aunt May that couldn't afford to keep Peter and her afloat after Uncle Ben's death. However, when Peter is in college, sometimes he might live by himself, he might live with friends, and he's got the responsibility of keeping them afloat with money. And obviously, Peter has to pay for himself, and Peter has to pay for his own apartment, he has to pay for his own food. He has to be financially dependent on himself. And that's taking that responsibility to a different level, and there are many great stories that you can tell with this. Like, for example, in the Marvel Spider-Man video game, this aspect of the character was handled very well. Other but minor things could include new characters, new love interests, a more mature Spider-Man, a more experienced Spider-Man, which once again could come along with better and greater stories. These are all great things that you can do with Spider-Man from college. Not to mention, in the comics, most of Spider-Man's best stories come from him during his college years, with the Jerry Conway era of the character being one of the most successful, and considered one of the best periods in the character's history. Like the death of Gwen Stacy was actually told during this period, as a prime example of a story that shaped that character, and not just Spider-Man, but comic books for years to come. At the end of the day, I think both eras are very similar in a lot of different aspects, and there isn't really much you can do objectively as in defining an era that is better than the other. And in some ways, this video doesn't really accomplish much as to giving you a definite answer, other than being a love letter to the character from his high school days. And still, you could prefer him in college, you could prefer him in high school, it doesn't really matter. No matter how you think about the character, no matter who is your live action version to wear the mask, no matter what is your favorite cartoon or comic book, Peter Parker is the character that we know and love from high school. That is the Spider-Man that we grew up with as kids. That's the Spider-Man that everyone knows, your mum and dad knows, your grandparents will know, your future children will know. It's him. It always will be him. Because no matter how much some adaptations will try and take Peter Parker out of high school, you'll never take the high school out of Peter Parker. And it will always be that way. Peter will be in high school again, and again, and again. And there is a reason for that. So in my opinion, despite wanting more stories from Peter in his college years and in his adult life, just like Peter B. Parker, like Marvel's Spider-Man, and in my opinion, Peter Parker is still best in high school. And that's because The Amazing Spider-Man is, and forever, will be a classic high school superhero tale. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit a like on it. And also, like we mentioned at the start of the video, the members page is now open. So if you want exclusive perks, like influencing upcoming videos, and you get badges, and you get custom emojis for live chats and stuff like that, then make sure to click the join button down below and get your membership today. Also, if you pick the top perk, which is only £2.99 every month, you get every video early. So pretty much as soon as I make the video and it's ready to go up, and I usually make my videos a week or so in advance, you guys get to watch it straight away before anyone else gets to see it. And as of recording this video, there are 2 videos already out for members that aren't actually out for the public. Now that will change when this video has gone out, because I will have made more videos and those videos might actually already be released when you see this video, but nonetheless, videos are already out there and more videos will be out there in the future. So if you want that and you like that, then make sure to join the members club. Also, every member that does join, even just the small perk, will get their name featured at the end of every video in the credits. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe for future video essays and Spider-Man stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.